Good morning, everybody. And today I decided to just draw up a little lesson and see if you guys enjoy it, taught like this more so than, like just me saying images. So, we are going to talk a little bit about seeing things in 3D and a couple different exercises that you guys can do in order to be able to get better at this. So, normally when everybody starts off drawing, when they see circles, they see a normal circle. As you get a little bit better, you might start seeing circles as 3D shapes. Adding a little bit of shading, you start adding a little bit of depth to it. The next step is to start seeing things that you can divide. Essentially, seeing things in kind of like a globe, with hemispheres, and being able to divide it into different hemispheres. If you notice really, really well, we have a circumference to these things, right? So we no longer should be drawing guides that are flat. You should be drawing guides that go around the shape so you have a little bit more understanding of depth. So seeing things as hemispheres going both ways help you out a lot. Going around and not flat, right? So how can you get better at that? Because it's not just with spheres. It can be with cubes, it can be with all basic shapes. And seeing those little elements of perspective can help you a lot down the line when you're trying to design things and when you're trying to build your poses. So here are some exercises that I like to do and I like to teach people in order for them to get better at seeing depth within shapes. So the first thing that you can do is create a basic shape. In this one, I call it the rubber band method. Start with a basic shape, just sketch it out, and then start drawing rubber bands that would go around the shape. In this case, it's a cube. So I'm just going to draw a little cube. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm just going to imagine myself going around. I kind of guide my eye through the other side, and I'm just feeling the sides of the cube. I'm starting to imagine and think that this is a solid object that I can draw around. Okay? Doing this helps you a lot because then later on when you're, for example, let's say drawing like a leg, right? Now you can map that out and start getting the depth that you want. It helps with shading. It helps with putting muscles. It helps with adding different shapes on top of it. And then it turns more into like a sculpture than necessarily a doodle. And it helps a lot. So that's a good benefit for them. Now, spheres. Spheres are normally what we make heads with. So it's very, very important to map out things like that. With this one, you just have to map out going around the shape. Just getting that feeling of laying things on top of it, and that translates to when you draw heads and you're trying to lay down your guides. Right? You're able to go around the shape, and it's going to add a little bit of depth to your character. Also with eyeballs, when you want to make them look up, when you want to make them look the other way, it helps having that guide. And then you can just position, eyes looking any way you want. It's also going to help you with when you try to rotate your character's heads more. And then the last shape is cones. Why do I include cones? Well, cones in cylinders that taper tend to be the things that turn into arms, they turn into hands, they turn into fingers. Right? It's all little tiny cones. And if we can combine the cone with the cube, then we start getting more complex shapes that allow you to create really cool things. So that's why you practice basic shapes, because everything can consist of basic shapes. All right, so the next one is cutting out chunks approach. And this is, again, going to build up on thinking that the objects that we draw are more like a 3D shape. So, cut out chunks. You start with the basic shape. Just put some random places that you would like to, cut out of the shape. And then adding a tiny bit of perspective. So you add like a light source or a point of view where you're viewing from. And then you fill in the shape as if it had been cut. Now, what's the purpose for that? The purpose for that, it should be pretty explanatory. Once you start seeing shapes like this, you can start cutting out parts that you don't need. And you end up with pretty cool shapes. In this case, it looks kind of creepy because I'm cutting it out like that, but if you just reverse that, then you'd have a really perfectly simple cartoon. And let's see, let me show you an example of that in this guy here. So let's say that we want to make, I don't know, just a random. So we're going to cut out this part. We're going to extend this part. So we're going to add a shape to it. And then we're going to follow the guides, like here, tracing over the shape, going around it, and just like that, we have pretty much a pretty interesting face shape. But we already have mapped out where it's gonna be shaded because we traced around the shape. We already know this is gonna be shaded because it protrudes this way, and we're seeing it in basic shapes. If we added a light source coming in from this direction, this would be heavier shaded under the nose, and then this part. So that's the purpose. Once you start seeing things like this, you can translate this without all the guides, without all the sketchy, and then make really cool cartoons. So here is a little screenshot of the whole thing, which I will probably post later on today. But for now, just remember that whenever you have something that you're drawing, always ask yourself, how can you make that a little bit more in depth? How can I give it a little bit more perspective? And how can I make this stand out a little bit more? Okay? All right, so that's going to be it for your 10-minute little tip. Hope this helps. I know that it helped me when I really learned this, and I hope that it is a great stepping stone to start off something great for all of you. So, all of you have a fantastic day, and don't forget that there is a giveaway going on with Danique, and these are beautiful sketchbooks. So go check out the post that has that, and I believe it ends today. So make sure to sign up because it's like $200 worth of like goodies and stuff like that they're about to give away. So thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a big fat smile on your face and a sketchbook in your hands. I'll see you guys later. Bye.